Hello, lovelies. Sorry for the huge delay between videos. I've had some tech problems that I hope I've fixed, but we'll see how this goes. Right around January, early February, Michael started carrying UV resin instead of just the two-part epoxy resins they'd been carrying. I was super excited, and it took a little bit of effort to track down a store that even had them in because that was how quickly I jumped on this. And then I had an amazing series of problems. So here we are 3 months later, and I am finally recording the review video. So I'll start with the clear UV resin. So, for those of you who don't know, UV resin is resin that cures by putting UV light on it. UV light is naturally in sunlight, so you can literally set UV resin outside in the sunlight and it will cure. Or you can get one of those lamps for curing the UV nail polish. And those honestly are what I prefer because they're more efficient. And also because then you can craft at night, which I like doing. So these are the two sized bottles that Michael's had when they first started getting this stuff in. This one is a standard clear resin. This one is colored, and I will talk about both of them. So first we're going to talk about the clear resin. So at Michael's, this was $14.99 for 100 grams, which if you are a dice maker and that's how you found me, that's probably going to be close to 3 sets of dice with no includes. I think the price on this one's pretty good because your comparison at Sophie and Toffee is $18, and Miniature Sweet is the same thing. As far as I can tell, the flow from this was a lot like Sophie and Toffee's thin type resin, but I haven't done a really close comparison yet, just that seemed to be about the behavior that I got from it. And once you throw in coupons, this can be a much better buy. This is, last time I looked, I think it was something you could have shipped to you from Michael's. When I first bought it, it was in store only. So I used clear resin to dome some eyes for my dolls, and I used this stuff in one pair, and then I used the cheap stuff I'm constantly buying at Daiso and for the other pair. So I'm going to show you guys those real quick so you can see what I got. The white bases you probably recognize from a much older video, and then I had painted them, and so the only resin that was used to fill in the pupils is the clear stuff. So this one is the pair that I did with, I don't think there's a good way for me to get that close with good light. Can this do it? Aha! Okay. That's probably the best I'm going to do for you guys. You guys might have to, like, I don't know, zoom in your... Can I get this to show? Okay. So I don't know if it's apparent, but there is a huge bubble in this one. And it is right lined up with the star, which means it is only visible about 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, however, it is a horrifically huge bubble. And I used 3 layers to get this. I will say it domed quite nicely. Like, you can see the shape at the top of the eyes. And I think that turned out really, really well. I did 3 layers of resin in order to actually fill these in, because sometimes when you're doing larger layers of resin, they shrink weirdly, especially with thin types. I have very bad luck with thin types in general. But this huge bubble appeared between the second and third layer. I'm not quite sure how, because it wasn't there. And then it appeared while this was happening. So this is actually essentially a non-usable pair of doll eyes, although I could just use the one. In comparison, just because I was like, I don't want to just do something and bitch about it, I want to also have that point of reference. This was the Daiso clear resin, which domed about the same, which I'm very pleased with because it was actually hard. The Daiso stuff is thicker, so it's easier to get layers going. And, oh, that looks so fun on the camera. There are some tiny bubbles in these. They've also picked up dust because I was able to do these quite a while ago while I was still trying to figure out my tech problems. There is a bubble in one of these somewhere. Of course, now I can't find it because I'm got this on camera. But there's a video in this too. So it's kind of like, you know what, they both behaved kind of equally bad, but in slightly different ways. So I'm not going to say that one is better than the other. I will say, especially if you're using the coupons, however, the Michaels is going to be the better deal. And then purple stuff. Purple stuff. Okay. So this was harder to compare because they just really didn't have the same things on Sophie and Toffee and Miniature Suite for comparing the prices. So I did the best I could with it. And what it comes down to is once you factor in the shipping, if there's no sales or anything going on Miniature Suite, this is still going to be the better deal. Assuming, of course, that you can find the color you want at Michael's, because I don't know about you, but my Michael's is really good at having everything in the display except for the one specific thing I need. It's like they know. So I used that to make bases for doll eyes that I didn't finish because I, one, have plans, and two, I'm really paranoid about doing resin crafting right now because it can cause breathing problems if you don't ventilate well. And I think we all know why that's kind of not something we want to do. So just looking at it, again, it's picked up some dust because I've let this sit to the side for a while. Can I get it much closer? I don't think I can get it much closer without getting it back out of the light. There are a couple of bubbles in one of them deep inside that honestly I think are going to be hidden when I fill in the pupils on these if I do the plan that I had. And I love this color purple. Just like straight up, this color purple is gorgeous. So if, again, you find me through the dice making and you've been trying to make the holy grail of clear purple dice, 25 grams is... My experience is you're going to be pushing your luck trying to get a full set of perfectly clear purple dice if you're doing a set of D&D dice. You might pull it off, you might not. It kind of depends on your very specific dice. But I would say if you're making a set of dice and you want them to all be purple, buy 2 bottles. And again, coupons are your friend. So I think that's it. So overall they exist. They're not terrible. They did have a full rainbow. I only bought this one color at the time because I pretend I have self-control in the craft stores, and my plan was originally every time I go back in I'll just pick up one more color, and then because I'm in California and we really got that lockdown going fast, I haven't been able to go into a craft store in like 2 months. I've been placing orders online, but the browsing experience, like you can't be as impulsive browsing online. There's no line at the register for you to like stare at amazing candy, and there's no like sale end caps that you can stumble across because the website is usually fairly organized. They usually don't show you a bunch of crap that's not related. So anyway, yeah, I miss shopping. I miss shopping a lot. And I haven't been doing nearly as much crafting as I should with the number of craft supplies I own. But as we all know, buying craft supplies and using craft supplies are 2 different hobbies. So anyway, my general review is it's not any better or worse than any other UV resin I have managed to work with, and it's probably a better deal than most of the other ones you can get. So tentatively buy from them. And if any other US crafting stores have started carrying UV resin and you guys want me to review it, let me know. I'm happy to look for new sources for resin at any point. And I think that's it. If you were entertained, please subscribe. And if you want to see what else I'm getting up to anywhere on the internet, there's a bunch of links down below for my Patreon, my Facebook, my other social media. I tend to forget to update Instagram. I'm being better about Instagram. It's all doll stuff right now though, so if you're here for doll stuff, check out my Instagram too. And I think that is it. I will see you lovelies on the internet.